Hi everyone, welcome to our Intelligence Mod. I'm Theo,
I'm Clint.
and this is RPG Day number 6. Thank you. Thursday. As we today, the prompt is the forest. For those of you who don't know, RPG Day is something that goes on for the entire month of August. Every day is a different prompt. Today's is forest, and today we're talking about spiders, the number one encounter in any forest, because you know it's what happens all the damn time. Going through woods on the track, all of a sudden webs, spiders, ettercaps, just things with 8 legs and creepy 8 eyes and just murder in their hearts. At least you're not speaking the dark tongue and singing. But that's only in the Hobbit. So Clint, why don't you start this one off?
Well, this just furthers my own argument that I've had for years is that the reason D&D is the way and fantasy is the way it is because of Tolkien. He literally
Well, it
just
is.
said the whole reason, the most known encounter in forests is spiders. I'm like, yeah, that's because of literally The Hobbit and literally that dark forest in The Lord of the Rings and Shelob. Like, and I don't think I've even dealt with large spiders in D&D or like any RPG. I don't think I've ever actually used them.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I choose not to use them on purpose as well because of that. Like they're always used. People always like spiders, and so you throw something that's not a spider at them because it's funny that way.
I mean, they make really good monsters because they're like at a low level. They have a lot of different abilities. Like most of the times, they have some sort of web ability. They have some sort of paralytic poison of some kind. So they make for like a far more challenging encounter. And usually they can be knocked out pretty easily. And there's like 6 different versions of them. There's
Yeah.
swarm, normal large spiders, I believe dire spiders because there's dire everything. And then there's probably some demon that looks like a spider.
There are two actually.
No, see,
Three. One's a construct.
I think it's also because it's a super common fear that
Yeah.
most people are scared or at least put off by spider. Like no one like not a lot of people like spiders. Maybe like tarantulas and those things that people would have as pets, but like your everyday like hobo spider, like hell no.
No, no. I walked into a spider nest one time when I was taking a walk and it got in my hair and I didn't realize it. This was when my hair was like thicker than it was now in like
Yeah.
mania. And they hatched. Yeah, exactly.
That's the
Now I
reason
just straight
why.
up now I just straight up kill spiders. Like everyone's like, "Oh, you should save them," and I'm like, "No, death."
Yeah, they enter my house, I kill them. They're outside, I don't mess with them. They're in my house, I will kill them.
Yeah, it was pretty.
There's a hard border around my house.
Yeah. But on that note, we could have fun talking like some of the different spider motifs that we'll see in D&D in like RPGs. Like we've got in D&D you have Loth, the spider, the spider, the dark elf spider goddess, pretty
Oh
much.
yeah, the spider elf of the
Yeah,
gods.
her
Then there's those then that goes into those half spider, half
the
drow,
Driders.
the
You got
driders.
her lair on her area on the abyss is called the Demon Web Pits. You've got I think the one I know Iron Kingdoms doesn't actually really have spider monsters.
I don't
They really don't.
I don't
Like
think
I can't think of any. They've got other creepy crawlies from the Scorn,
yeah, I don't think they have spiders. I don't
but
think there's even that many like really memorable forests in Iron Kingdom's setting.
no, there are. There's three
Or
of them.
a
You've got
desert
the one you
that
got the
turned into
one
a
where the
desert.
Cricks, huh?
The one that turned into a desert.
No, you got the one that Crix was in for like until they all banded together to kick Asphyxius out. The thorn, yeah, you have the Thornwood. You've got like there are some memorable forests there, but it's also just like okay, we don't even know what the landscape's gonna really look like until Requiem comes out because that'll be our first look into a post Oblivion Iron Kingdoms.
Yeah, and how far into the future. But I think
This is like a year or two. It's not gonna be
I
too
think
far into the future.
I think with forests and stuff, I think basically every single like named forest is pretty much the same. It's mysterious. Normally people get lost in it because somehow like it changes in the mists or something like that. Or it's like or it's like the freaking forest planet Tanith for Warhammer 40K before it got destroyed. It's just a
As I
gigantic, ever-shifting forest planet.
as I'm literally reading only in depth in the God Scout series because that's how far I'm in right now.
I mean, it just showed there's forest stuff in like every single scenario, even in the
Yeah,
Grimdark universe where there is only war.
I
Granted,
think
in the first 2 chapters, that planet's blown up, but
I think Age of Sigmar has some of the best forests because each forest is different depending on what realm you're on.
yeah,
So in Akshi, the realm of fire, uh, you have forests that are like dead woods because they've
always,
been burned, or
but
they're always
they're
on
always
fire.
on fire. They're always burning, and if
Like
you put
they're
the
always
fire
on
out,
fire,
they will relight.
or they're dead in ash, or they're healthy and green. Because the point of Akshi is not supposed to be like everything's on fire. It's supposed to be just it's a very harder realm. Everyone there is more passionate and everything like that.
There is a
Then you
forest, I think, called the
yeah.
Cinderwood that the trees are just legitimately on fire,
Oh yeah,
and
there is.
they're always on fire.
And then the Sylvaneth, which is an entire race of pretty much trees. They're
Yeah,
living trees.
they're living
Are
people.
they're all living trees? Are the Age of Sigmar coming off Wood Elves now for and stuff. They're pretty fun, but their look will change based on where they're at. You go to Gur, the realm of life, and the trees literally have like teeth and like jaws, and will fight. And then you go to Garan, which is just one gigantic ass forest of death, slightly semi corrupted by Nurgle.
Yeah, theirs is open, really hard to interpretation because of the 9 realms and
Which is
what each
nice.
realm is based
I do
off of.
like that. Shaiish is weird. What's really great is we have no idea about the realm of Shadow and the realm of Light still for massive descriptions. I know Soulbound has some descriptions, but I didn't go through that, which I probably should have, because that would be kind of cool to talk about forests of light and crystal, or forests of shadow and inky tendrils, because that's I picture for shadow and light, not respectively. Yeah, yeah. Forests are just it's weird. Like they're used a lot. I know the Forgotten Realms has the has one forest that's literally just has green dragons all over the place in it. And it's just the established thing of, if you go through this wood and do not meet a green dragon, if they looked at you, thought you weren't worth it, and decided to just leave you alone. Either you weren't worth it on the good scale, or not worth it on the bad scale. Like, oh, you're gonna hurt us, or you got nothing we want, and it will take too much effort to eat you, which I also find
It's just
funny.
such a primal thing that we've dealt with weird shit in forests basically since the dawn of time, and
Yeah,
there's always scary stuff in it. So like, name some culture and they have some form of story or myth based on there's shit out in the woods, don't go out there. And so yeah, all of our stuff is based on that idea, no matter how weird or alien the forest is.
yeah,
They're just ripe for being able to just, and most of the time I can't think of having any sort of like existential fear dealing with that kind of level of stuff. Normally it's like you're going from point A to point B, you fight something in
yeah.
the
The
wooded
forests are just in the
area.
way.
They're just there. They're just random set dressing. They're nothing amazing. They're like generic
the
cave.
the only time I've seen a forest become actually important is Tomb of Annihilation, because the jungle is just a tropical forest, pretty much. So you got an entire thing set up in a jungle where you actually have to deal with that kind of stuff. Like, that is the main part of the game. It's no longer just point A to point B. It's no, point A to point B is literally where you have to find water, survival. There's dinosaurs. There's like all this stuff. You actually do a really good job with it in that setting, and it's just interesting, just trying to
It's
figure
a
it
whole
out.
and I mean it's a setting thing. It's like, I mean, in my game I'm running for um the dragon one. I've mentioned it multiple times, can't think of it. What the name of it
Tyranny of
is.
Dragons.
Tyranny of Dragons. About to say the first one they wrote for 5th edition. There's so much traveling. It's like one big long freaking chase movie, and you're you're in wooded encounters all the time, but they're just like random stuff. They're just a random generated encounter. So there's
Yeah,
really nothing to it. It's not the setting.
that's
So
kind of why I like part two of that campaign, when it goes less traveling everywhere and to an actual, like, okay, here's the mission now that you know what's going on.
you're trying to like solve a thing and gather information in the first one. But yeah, it's because the setting's not set up to make the forest scary or anything. They're just generic forests. It's like driving down I-5 in Washington. There's just forests here. Not
everywhere.
like
Yeah,
it's not like you came up to a forest edge and it's like this existential years of knowledge and lore telling you like this is real stuff. You don't mess with things. Like there isn't really any, you know, weird odd. There's the occasional encounter with like a will-o-wisp that specifically might make you wander off, but that's so difficult to sometimes get those types of things to happen when you got
yeah,
like four other people with you and like, hey Jim, where are you going? You know, it's not only the one person has to fail like some sort of will save to be like, ooh, shiny light, and then like wander off in the forest, but like five other people have to notice that like Jim's leaving for some weird reason. And I mean, like, I've
yeah.
gone camping. It's really obvious when someone just starts to wander off when you're all standing in a group. So I've never had one of those things like kind of go off. And if they do, it's normally like, hey, what's he looking at? Then everybody sees the thing and then they're like, we have to kill it because of XP. So
Yeah,
being
that is
little
very much.
being little magical hobos of murder makes it a little hard to make things scary.
Yeah, it's fun there.
I mean, I know there's games that would set that, like, if we ran, like, in The Witcher, that's a forest you don't screw with as a normal person because there's, like, freaking monsters that'll just eat you, and as a normal, even as a PC in that, you're nothing. If you built it,
Raven Ravenloft has the
kill it.
same thing. Yeah, Ravenloft does the same thing. There are forests where like don't go in them. Some domains are just like massive forest realms of you're gonna die. Just do, go in. You're gonna go through a bad time. Accept it. Or my favorite one. Here's a forest. Like here's a massive forest. Like here's a realm of bards. It's all forest except for these little city town areas where bards will like to gather and sing because fuck the woods, filled with wolf wares, which
I,
are if for so werewolves are human to wolf. Wolf wares are wolves that turn into humans, and there's a bunch of bards ones. It's just it's a funny ass thing. But yeah, I think at that point it's forest. You know,
there
tell us
needs to
what
be a
you
prop.
know.
There needs to be a proper setting. Like forests are kind of boring and generic D&D, and even some most RPGs in general. You have like you need a setting. Now that I'm thinking about it, like, oh, a forest-based campaign thing where it's like you're actually going into an actual forest. Like even like I don't know, like a forest dungeon. How would you even? I don't know.
Tomb of Annihilation. I'll let you look through it later. He's like, oh hey, this is actually like it's forest, ruins in forests and shit like that. Okay, well I think on that point we've kind of exhausted everything we could talk about forests.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of a shorter one. This was the hard prompt. This was the one where we looked at all of them and we wrote up some sort of discussion topic, and we're like, what?
Let's
It,
just
like, how
talk
do you do
about the
for
forest.
forest? And I mean, you can even tell in the beginning we started talking about freaking spiders, and we're like, hey, no, let's actually just talk about forest as a setting. Like, you know, this will be probably one of the shorter videos, but
Yeah.
and it'll be put out this will be put out late because I didn't get up to record yesterday, so it is actually Thursday today.
Yep. We're actually recording on the correct day for the video.
Yeah, the time dilation is set to 0 now.
So, yep. So subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment about memorable forest campaigns you played in or thought of or anything or adventures or just things like in the comments. And we'll see you all tomorrow when the prompt is couple, which also gave us a run for our money for
coupling. Yeah, that was. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
6 and 7. The
Yeah. 7, 8, 9. No.